governance just talk majorly about the rules and access control, permissions, and so on and so forth in Azure. For instance, under a management group, that management group is created by somebody. This management group here that you see is created by somebody. You understand? That person can now say, okay, that person is like, quote and unquote, we are going to get to a place where I'll talk about how back the owners, the readers, the contributors, and so on and so forth in Microsoft. That's rule-based access control. I'll come back to talk about it mainly, but I just want to give a brief dive into it. So we have rules and regulations in Azure. So because of I have a tenant or a subscription, uh, I need to have control on what can be done in it, what cannot be done. And for instance, I can say, okay, I want to apply a policy. So what a policy really means is that a policy means that what can be done under this particular management group. Like for instance, if I apply a policy under a management group, every subscription under that management group will follow that same policy. That's how it works. If I apply a policy under a subscription, every resource group or resources, or let's say every resource groups under that subscription will follow that policy. Let's come back to this picture that I'm showing. If I apply a policy here under a management group, every subscription under it will follow that policy. If I apply that policy under this particular subscription, every resource group under that subscription will follow that same policy. If I apply that policy under a resource group, it will affect every resources under it. So that is what Azure policies mean. So Azure policies are rules and regulations that are given by the administrator in charge. For instance, they can say, okay, in this subscription, the only virtual machine that can be created are virtual machine with basic tier. And I apply that policy under this subscription. Every resource group under here, anytime anybody wants to create a virtual machine in any of this resource group, that virtual machine must be a basic virtual machine. If I come to this subscription and I said, okay, I want every virtual machine that is created under this to be standard, I can create standard virtual machine under this subscription, but I can't create it under this subscription. I can create a basic virtual machine under this subscription resource group, and the subscription, but I can't do it here because they have varying policy. But if I come up here to the management group and I say, okay, nobody can create a storage account in East US, for instance, it's going to affect every subscription and every resource groups. So meaning that I can't come to any of these resource groups and create a storage account that's in East US. Please, do you get what that policy really means? Now I've shown you the hierarchy of policies in Azure and how they apply to each management group, each subscription, and each resource groups. Thank you. The next thing again we will talk about, I'll try to drop some documents in the group, drop some this thing, what do I call it? I'll drop some URL in the group also, so we can be able to read it, get to know it, and make some right decisions on it. So another thing again, I want to just an overview of everything I've spoken about today. So key differences between management group and subscription. Number one, the purpose. The purpose of management group is to organize and govern subscriptions. That's the purpose of management group. So, the purpose of subscription on the other side is to contain the resources and resource groups. Management group organize and govern subscriptions. Subscription in itself now organize and govern resource group and resources. Can we see it like that? Now, under management group, you have multiple subscriptions. You can have as much as you choose to have subscriptions under management groups. That's what I showed you here. You can choose to have many subscriptions under management groups. But in the aspect of subscription, the only thing you can have under subscription is resource groups. You understand? Under a management group, you can have money subscriptions, but under a resource group, so under a subscription, you can have only resource groups. So the next thing again is billing. I talked about it. I said billing is done in the subscription level, not in the management group level. In the subscription level, you can be billed for resources you have used and so on and so forth. But in your management group level, you are not billed for anything. So, for instance, this subscription here is going to pay for the resources under it. And this subscription here will pay for the resources under it. So this subscription here can have its own different card and mode of payment. And this subscription here can have its own different card and mode of payment. So that's the difference between management group and subscription. So the next thing again we want to talk about is RBAC, rule-based access control, role-based access control. You can use role-based access control both on the management group and on the subscription. That's another thing we can talk about. Next thing again is talking about Azure policies. I talked about policies initially. I said that policies determine what can be done and what cannot be done. So you can apply policies on management group and you can apply policies also on subscriptions. The next thing again is talking about uh, resources. Subscriptions can contain resources inside resource groups, but management group, you can't put your resources under management group directly. So that's the key differences between management group and um, subscription. I think I've been able to make a good play of that for everybody to understand. Okay, so I'll say we should call it a day now before we have a question and answer.